So, Guillermo de Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities followed up Lot 36 with Graveyard Rats, and they go back into it. Well, it's a period piece. Back in the distant past, this guy who's is a grave robber, and this was a thing that happened quite a bit. I'm sure it still does to some extent, but there was a lot of that going on in those days, and it shows off a lot of this, where scientists and whatnot are dependent on people stealing corpses for scientific study and all that. It was all illegal, of course. Unlike today, where there's people who dedicate their body to science, and I don't know, maybe even some prisoners get, But anyway, so that was one way to make money. The other way is the obvious thing of whatever valuables the person was buried with was fair game to these guys who were willing to dig up these graves and steal. There's some other two guys who've dug up a grave, and then the main character shows up, Mason, his name, and convinces them that he's some sort of security guard or what have you, and they run away. And then they have done all the work of digging up this grave, and so then he proceeds to steal from the corpse. And one of the top values is our gold teeth. And he goes there. But then right then and there, we discover he has this fear of rats. And just this nightmare, which he has a nightmare of just a whole bunch of rats, overcoming him and all that. So you pretty much see where this is going to go. But once again, it's all well shot. The mood and atmospherics are well done. The performances are excellent. There's some amount of comedy in this character, and he bandies about all kinds of claims and talks about the terrible things that go on with corpses and what in laying it at the feet of the Black Church and Satanists and all this sort of thing, which of course turns out to be true. Little did he know. So he's in desperate need of funds. Same kind of plot as the previous episode. And he's discovered there's this well-to-do aristocrat guy who has passed, and he's has some sort of relationship with the guy who works at the morgue, and we'll toss him a bone, if you will, to look for any valuables. And he looks through this corpse and discovers, the guy's got tons of gold teeth, and all kinds of valuables will be buried with him. He has to hide in a closet or whatever where the family comes to talk about the arrangements for the funeral and everything, and that he would be buried with his medals and a sword that was granted him, I don't know, by the king or queen or whatever, And so highly valuable stuff, and he's like, oh my God, I got to get that. And so he had to wait, before the body's buried. So he knew that this is the one to get to, and he had to get to it as soon as he could, because the rats keep coming into these graves. And oddly enough, they tend to steal the valuables. Seem unlikely, but I guess it makes sense for the overall what happens. So he gets there, he digs the guy up, and it's all this stuff, and then here come the rats. He's like, damn it. And they end up tearing through the coffin, and there's this rather large tunnel leading to it, and they drag the corpse away, and he's like, damn it. So he's chasing after them despite his fears of them through the tunnel. And I was like, this is a really large tunnel to have been dug out by rats, but eventually he encounters a monster rat that's an enormous, like, mutant. I guess the mother of these rats, but it's just ridiculously large. It's like, oh my god, oh. And then keeps falling down, and then suddenly he falls down into this subterranean temple, I guess, of some demonic thing, and all very decorative of the typical things you would see in a Toro film, certainly borrowing from Lovecraft and stuff like that. So all his things he had heard about black churches and stuff is more or less true. It appears that this is, but it also lends credence to the idea that there's these tunnels. So perhaps, they were doing things with corpses as well, because there's quite a few of them down there. But also all the artifacts are there too. They've fallen down. The sword, he finds it. There's other, some, I think, gold cufflinks or something like that. But it catches his attention. There's this corpse up against the wall. There's an altar to some like Lovecraftian eldritch god looking thing, but the corpse has this talisman hanging on its neck, and it looks to be all gold and whatnot. He's like, oh man, so he's got to have that. Of course, when he takes it off, the corpse comes to life. It's this zombie and starts attacking him, saying, mine, mine. Now he's like, whoa. Now, the thing about it, at the time when they showed what appeared to be the altar, and I guess that's all it is, I thought it was going to be to be the real creature, and that once you removed that talisman, it freed it from its whatever prison that it's in. And then, now you've got all this, and then it would get him, and that's that. But no, that's not how it goes. That thing was just a statue. But the zombie starts chasing him, and he takes off to get away. He goes through to the tunnel, and then, oh crap, here comes the giant rat. And there's almost a moment I thought, he was going to cleverly outfox them to where the zombie and the rat fight. But that's not what happens. The rat gets to him first, and he ends up causing a cave-in that kills the rat, and buries the zombie. But now he's stuck in this tunnel, and he's wandering around. He's obviously completely lost by now. And then he sees a light at the end. He's, phew. So he gets to it, but unfortunately, it's just, I guess, his light, that he has this little old-timey flashlight with him, and it's reflecting off the decorative elements of the coffin. And he's just climbing into another coffin with the hole. And he's like, oh no, and he's stuck and he can't get it open and get out. And then here come the rats again, and they swarm him, and one of them breaks his light, so now he's in pitch black, and that's that. It cuts to the guys you met at the beginning of the show, the other grave robbers. They open the coffin, and they say, hey, isn't that the guy? And they yeah, it's him. And then all of a sudden, his body begins, a rat comes out of his mouth, and they're all coming out of his body. They've pretty much gutted him. So that's that. And yeah, that's that. So very predictable of what, similar to the first episode, but it's all the atmospherics and performance. That's what you can count on, I'm guessing. 2 episodes in, and that appears to be the case for the most part. There's not a lot else there's no real twists or anything other than, I guess, to say, hey, he thought it was all BS about the black church, but turns out it's true. Or demon worship or whatever, and that's where you are with this one. So for mood and atmospherics, which Toro is a master at, and I don't know how much influence, well, obviously he has a powerful influence over all of this, his crew and whatnot, but it's certainly well on display in this show, and so there's a lot of that. But is it on the level of other anthology shows? Certainly not Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone was the pinnacle of this sort of thing. So it's not on par with that, but it's entertaining.